Have you been waiting on your next level? Have you been trying to unlock that thing that's going to bust open not only your finances, your mindset, your relationships? If you have been in that space, you want to make sure that you tune in to today's episode of I Am and More, the journey to more, where I have a special guest here. We're talking about the secret to unlocking your next level in relationships. Now, y'all know who I am. I'm the entrepreneur's attorney and business strategist. I help you save your business. Y'all go create these business, then y'all want to stay the business. Okay, get some insurance, meaning get you an attorney and make sure this business is protected and your money is protected and your brand is protected and the protected is protected. Y'all get it, right? But today we have here one half of Better Together. That's what I kind of know her as. But she is Coach Keisha Wilson. She is a dynamic and influential figure in the field of personal empowerment and self-awareness. And y'all know we've been hitting that self-awareness thing down. As a dedicated advocate for unlocking individuals' true potential, she has become a driving force in propelling people towards dynamic spiritual, professional, and social relationships. With her exceptional coaching abilities, Keisha has established herself as a consummate leader, transforming lives and fostering personal growth. Y'all, we don't need to say nothing else but welcome, and we're excited that you are about to pour into us.
I'm excited to be here. So yes, let the pouring. I think it's going to be mutual. It's going to be, mutually beneficial.
Hey, I receive it already. Let's jump right in. So many times, we get to a place in life where we want more. That's why we're here at I Am and More, but we don't know what to do it. And I always talk about these things of keys, and you need that key to unlock it. So just jump right in. What is like the top 2 to 3 keys you think we need to unlock our next level?
The first thing that we need is you mentioned it earlier, self-awareness. We have to have an accurate assessment of who we are and what we bring to the table, because we were talking about, I love the title I Am and More, because none of us are singularly dimensional, right? None of us, whether we're wives or husbands, or whether we're parents or entrepreneurs, that is not all that we are, right? So in order for us, one key is that we have to know who we are when we show up. When we come into any room, any setting, be it professional, be it personal, who's showing up? So we have to have a very accurate characterization of ourselves. And then it's not to say that we're not all bad and we're not all good. We all have blind spots. We all have areas that we can improve upon. So once we are aware of those, something that I love that John Maxwell has said, he said all of us have blind spots. And if you think you don't, then that's your blind spot.
Ooh.
So we have to make sure that we are looking inward. That would be the first key. And then once we know who we are, and then two, let me say this too, Jamila, is that what we've done does not define who we are, right? So say if we grew up, say we come from what they say is a broken home, meaning that our parents weren't traditional, like maybe they weren't married for the whole time of our childhood, or whatever that looks like, right? So, but the point is that does not make Jamila who Jamila is. That does not make Keisha who Keisha is. What I've experienced, what I've gone through, even my missteps, that does not define me. So as we are using that key to unlock to our next level, we have to make sure that we are not pigeonholing ourselves or allowing others to pigeonhole us to who we used to be or things that we used to do, because that does not define us. So I had to put that caveat in there.
Put that in the keyhole, okay? We are going to put that in the keyhole. Listen, you can already tell this is on fire. I know people are like, man, I gotta get somebody over here and make sure they listen to this one already. I want to lean in here because you already listed one key. So once we have that self-awareness, once we have, dealt with the fact that, like, no matter the circumstances, that cannot dictate who we are and where we are supposed to go. Right. The third thing that I kind of want to hit on is your brand, better together, because somebody is going to think that only matters if they are working with a helpmate, but better together is so much more than that. Break that down for us.
Thank you for bringing that out. So I am a consummate people coach. So I'm a people coach first and foremost. And so in that, I am intentional to help people to, again, get to that self-awareness in a healthy way, not to beat ourselves down, but so that we can bring the best version of ourselves into every relationship that we're in. And all of us, everybody watching, everybody viewing with us today is in some form of relationship, be it your spiritual relationship with your faith, be it your professional relationships with, it doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur, if you are a service person, if you are a leader in the corporate space, if you have a trade, it doesn't matter. There are professional relationships that you engage in every day of your life. Socially, we all have friends, we have family members, some of us have children, some of us are children of parents that are still living. And then the romantic relationships is just one component of that. So if we can be the healthiest version of ourselves, anytime we're in a relationship, it's going to be better. Chip and I are so committed to helping people to attain and maintain and sustain dynamic, fruitful partnerships. Because every relationship, there should be some reciprocity, right? If we're in relationships where all we're doing is taking, or all that's happening is that we're being taken from, that's not a healthy, dynamic, fruitful partnership, because it should be reciprocal. Chip and I always say, every relationship should produce something. If it's at work, I'm in sales, so I'm in pharmaceutical sales. So as a part of a team, as a part of an organization, I'm supposed to produce, my sales goals. So that is that relationship. So spiritually, I'm supposed to produce fruit. My faith should produce something. It should yield something. And as a wife, as a mother, I should not just have these expectations that my husband is going to fulfill this part of me, or my children are going to grow up and be successful, and that is how I get poured into. It should be definitely reciprocal in every relationship. And so that is at the foundation what Better Together was birthed to do. We help people to reframe, reimagine, and remodel our mindsets and our skill sets so that we can all achieve these dynamic, fruitful partnerships that we talked about.
Well, y'all, I think I'm about to end the recording so that I could go sign up for a personal session and make sure that I got my self-awareness on at the right point, like make sure I got the right mindset in. But, it's just so powerful what you just said. And if the people could really pick up on it, that everything revolves around relationships. Everything that we do, I think I'm having like a for real aha moment right now. Everything revolves around a relationship, how you relate with yourself, how you relate with the higher power, how you relate with your people on your job. And so if you don't do that requisite work to think right, to be right, then you can't relate right.
Yes, you can't. You cannot.
Okay, so let's just jump in here. How do you help people? Because I think about people coming from so many different places and spaces. And I want to talk to the person who says, this is just me. This is who I am. Take it or leave it.
Right.
Meanwhile, they are not accessing their more. They are not accessing their greatness. What do you say to them to help them with their mindset and self-awareness so they can relate well?
The first thing is that there is no right or wrong. That's the
Mhm.
first thing. There should be, people should not feel that there are these indictments. So because Keisha is not like Jamila and Jamila is not like Jeffrey or whomever, is that in some way, my way, it may not be the only way, and it may not even be the best way, right? So I would first, to a person that said, this is how I am. And then, of course, we've had a lot of interaction in our, because we've been doing this for more than a decade of this relationship coaching on various facets in various industries, with business development and helping people to relate to their employees or their employers, and even in their business partnerships. Because if we go in with the mindset of, this is the way I am, take it or leave it, this is the way I've always been, that the first thing I usually try to do is help to uncover, okay, and how is that working for you? Have you reached what you would like to reach? Have you reached the outcome that you are in pursuit of? And if you have, then great. Then if your way is working, and if you feel like you have reached the pinnacle of whatever personal or professional success that you want, great. Keep it pushing. I wish you nothing but love and peace. But for those of us that say, well, you know what? It hasn't as necessarily gotten me the results that I'm looking for. So then we start there. Okay, what would be different? What would be one thing that you feel like has kept you from getting to what good looks like for you? And that's one thing that Chip and I always do, whether we're coaching someone in their romantic relationship, whether we're helping with their children, or even with the progression of their businesses. We first have to start, what does good look like? What are we working towards? Because if you have this very theoretical kind of pie in the sky understanding, or if you don't have any objective of what good looks like, then how can you strive for it? How can you work towards it? How can you put skill sets in place to achieve it? So that would be how I would approach someone that maybe is kind of set in their ways. And then and see, the best testimony to a person is their own. So if you have them answering the questions of, are you where you want to be, or did this relationship, did this partnership, did this business endeavor reap the harvest that you anticipated? If the answer is no, then there's work that can be done.
Simple and sweet. There's work that could be done.
There's work that can be done.
It's always going
We
to
can
be.
work with that. I can work with, something that's maybe not good and we want to get it to good, something that's good, we want to get it to great. I can work with that. But if you feel like this is it, this is all that it will ever be, then we got some mindset work to do first.
Yeah, yeah. And we're believers, so I can go there. It's not biblical.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not biblical for you to just do that and stay there and be that.
No, it's not. And we talked about this briefly before, is that, a lot of times the problem is that people are not innately, they don't have this like limited thinking. But what happens is that people are often committees of one, which is also not biblical.
Come on,
The Bible says, in the multitude of counselors.
Wait. No, Keisha, we not gonna gloss over that committees of one. We gonna pause and we gonna unpack. Okay. What is the danger, the mistakes, the issues with having a committee of one?
Man, the committee of one, the biggest danger is that there is nobody to bounce an idea off of. And then when we think about it, the other danger is that our best thinking, our best tactics have gotten us to where we are right now. And we can use an analogy that's not even business. Just think about health and fitness, right? So if you have been eating this way, and if you've been walking a mile and a half, and you can walk a mile and a half in 19 minutes, this is your best thinking, your best efforts, your best everything has gotten you to where you are. And that might be at a plateau. Whereas if you work with a coach and a trainer, they will be able to say, well, instead of doing the 1.5 mile walk, let's do 30 minutes of 20 minutes of a hit, and then let's stretch you out for 10 minutes. And you see what I mean? 3 times a week instead of 5 times a week. And instead of eating this much, how about we eat more protein, less of this? So the point is that my limited capacity, because I have exhausted the magnitude of what I know or what I can do alone. So when we stay in this silo of just what I think, what I feel, what I want, then there is nobody else that can show you that there is another way, you know? And then the Bible also tells us that every way seems right to a man in his own eyes, but God discerns the heart. So my best idea, I'm gonna think, yeah, I'm right. That makes a lot of sense. And then you'll come in and say, but have you thought about the legal aspects of it? Did you know that what you just did could be considered a felony? Or did you know that you can't walk into a theater and scream fire because that's inciting a riot? And you're like, huh? You know what I'm saying? Because I know what I know, and that's all I know.
Wait a minute. I know what I know, and that's all I know.
That's all I know.
Listen, so you got to get out of your own knowing to know some more stuff.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understood it. I hope they understood it. I understood it. I hope they understood it. Now, let's you. I wish I could just have you here forever, but you dropped a bomb a few weeks back at a mastermind event where your intellectual property, your brainchild came out on a stage where you really highlighted how we as people have a word deficit and how that has kept us living below the level we're supposed to live. Yes. And so you kind of brought it out in the area of like helping men, you know, thinking through men and how they need affirmations. Mm-hmm. But if we dial this back, especially in urban cultures, mm-hmm. there is a lack of affirmation, which leads to a lack of self-awareness. So let's unpack these words and why these words are so important.
Man, that is, you know, you are getting me fired up now, because this is like, I feel like God downloaded this and I have to give birth to it. And it's like, I am, ever since we were able to unpack that at the forum, it's like I'm acutely aware of how prevalent this problem is, that first of all, affirmations are so important to the development of that self-awareness that you talked about. And then the funny thing is that it's cultural. You know what I mean? Because I had the opportunity to ask some of the same questions that I was asking of other men of color to one of my Hispanic friends, who's also my neighbor. And they, Hispanics, often, it's a very matriarchal society. So boy children are like the pinnacle. Like that is the best thing ever. And women, mothers, aunts, grandmothers dote on these young boys when they are young and affirm them daily, several times a day, right? So it becomes, it's just a part of their culture, where transversely, a lot of times Black males do not get that. They you know, because maybe their mothers didn't get it. So, or their caregivers or their big mamas or whomever it is. And there is a void that exists in them. And then it's like a repeating cycle. It just continues on.
Wait. I got to pause here, because she's telling you that there's a void that exists within them. But here is the thing that I took away. They don't even know it.
They don't know it. They don't. It's like they don't know what they don't know. Even when we poll them and we got dozens of responses, and it really, it was a thought-provoking question. And the question was, just so, and anybody that's on could answer this, it doesn't just have to be men, but the question was, what is one thing that you wish that your mother or a female caregiver would have said to you when you were growing up? And so it was like you could just start to see like the wheels turning. And the problem is that, and what a lot of men, because we were polling men, what they admitted was that I knew my mother, my grandmother, my aunt, whomever the caregiver was, I know they loved me, but they may not have said it verbally, or they may not have expressed it physically, with affection. And so if we know, first of all, let's talk about what an affirmation is. What are these words of affirmation? What are they? So to affirm means to state as fact, right? To assert strongly and publicly, to declare one's support of, to uphold, and to defend. Here's my favorite definition, Jamila: to offer someone emotional support
Mm.
or encouragement. So if these affirmations have just been inferred but not relayed, there creates the void. There creates the part to where if men haven't received it, then how can they give it? Right? So they don't know. I had a grandfather who was phenomenal, and he went to work every day. There were no outside children. He came home and ate dinner at 5 o'clock every day, was a man of faith, all of these things. And so he was affectionate to me, but I don't, but he always, the thing that he really was disappointed in, he said, I was so busy making a living when my sons were growing up that I forgot to make a life. So for him, he was showing that his love, his support, his stability by providing and working hard, and everybody loved and respected him. But he felt like when he came to the end of his life that he wished that he would have maybe taken more time to go to the baseball games when his sons were playing, and to be present at the school music recital or whatever. But hindsight becomes 2020 vision. So what that does is that it shows us where the holes are. It's almost like we have an x-ray machine, and we're able to point out in other people, this is a deficit, this is a deficit, they were lacking this. And so that is why it's so important for us not just to feel a way, but to say that we feel that way. You know what I mean? Like, we can't be passive aggressive in our relationships with each other, professionally, socially, certainly not spiritually. The Bible says, let the redeemed of the Lord say so. So the point is that we can't just sit back and say, well, they should know how I feel. I show up for them, I take care of them, I come to work on time, I do what I was hired to do. Okay, that part is true, and like, it's the and more. And the more part of it is that it has to be expressed. One of my cousins, he talked about how his mother was a wonderful provider. She was a single mom raising 4 kids, and he said he was dating a young lady who, his mother, he knew she loved him, but those were words that he couldn't remember ever hearing her say that, right? So he started dating this young lady, and her family was almost the bipolar opposite. They were affectionate, they would greet you with hugs, I'm so happy that you're here. And he said one day they had gone on vacation, and when they all got to breakfast, the mother hugged him and said, I love you, I'm so excited that you came with us. And he was like, you love me? I mean, like that, those 3 words shook his whole being, because that was something that he had never heard from the primary person that was caring for him, raising him, loving him, and providing for him, but she never said it. So that is why, remember, it's to offer emotional support or encouragement, to someone. That's what an affirmation is. So, how do we get to that self awareness that's healthy and accurate without having someone, again, because we're in a committee of one. So, if all I'm hearing is what I'm saying to myself, right? Then if I don't have anybody else to interrupt that negative, derogatory thinking, or it might even be just be a misperception. But if I don't have anybody to interrupt that talk track, that thinking, that subliminal message with something that is positive and affirming and encouraging, then I'm going to stay stuck.
Listen, that is so good. And I just want to hit on the keys we have so far. Unlocking your next level, unlocking relationships revolves around you being self aware, you not letting your past define you, you relating well, and then the words that you say, the words that you express. And right. And so she hit on the words that we express with each other, but we also have to have the right words that we're expressing with ourselves. So, like, how would you coach someone who may be at a place where their words are neutral or their words are somewhat negative and they really want to have more positive affirmations in their life? How could you help them?
You know, the first thing is to establish, I think that we have to do what we were just talking about, is interrupt, our regularly scheduled programming. We can't continue with business as usual. So we have to sometimes point out, because sometimes we don't realize that this is the way. If we've been this way for 25, 30 years, this is all we know, right? So until we show a person, is the first step, that do you realize that you're speaking death to whatever it is that you're trying to do and to become. First of all, like, did you realize that? It might even be subtle, but that's the first thing we have to do, because there have been numerous studies done to show that there is a connection between negative thinking patterns and reduced physical and mental health. So we have to stop ourselves and others in their tracks to say, you are speaking negativity. You're speaking dis-ease to your physical self and your mental self. So that's the first step in learning how to affirm ourselves. And then I am a reformed self-basher. Like because I was raised to try to strive for perfection, and we all know that doesn't exist. And I was today years old when I realized that perfection and excellence are not synonymous. So a lot of times, if I was not the best, or if I had not gotten the highest grade, or if I did not win the contest at work, I would be down and speak negativity to and about myself. When I was raising our children, I would make them do an affirmation every day. And they would say, "Mommy, you do it." And I would say, "Mommy did hers already," because I literally, hear me well, Jamila, I could not stand in that mirror and say affirming things to myself, because all I would be thinking was that this is not true, because I messed up. I made a mistake. I had a misstep. I said something that I shouldn't have said. And that's the opposite of what the point of an affirmation is. But at least I had enough wherewithal, and I thank God, that to pour it into my children. But how much of it was I missing because I wasn't pouring it into myself?
Y'all, that's a major key right there. We got another key. What are you pouring into yourself? So you're filled, but what are you filled with?
Mm-hmm.
What are you filled with? Listen, like, this conversation is so doggone rich. Like, it's so doggone rich. Like, this is wealth being transferred.
Yes.
Because if you can get you right, then you can get so much more right in life. If you can unlock the things that have been closed, the things that have not been open, and allow a flow to hit, you will see a different life, and you will be looking around saying, "What in the heck? I didn't even know this was possible. God done blew my mind."
Yep. He will. And that's what he says. Like think about what our creator says about us, that we are beautifully and wonderfully made. And I knew you from before I formed you and I approved of you. It's like he's already telling us everything that you are, I put in there on purpose. So it's great. The shape of your nose, the size of your hips, all of that. He's like, I knew that, like on purpose. Like I did that on purpose. This was not by accident. But the thing is, when we can pour into ourselves, um, positive things, empowering things that will charge us and things that will inspire us, it affects how we perceive ourselves. Like we talked about, that self-awareness and that self-perception will then begin to shift. So I'm no longer the woman, the mother that couldn't stand in the mirror and say an affirmation. Now I'm like, yes, you girl, you got it going on. You got that. You did that. You know what I mean? Because I'm able to tap in to the best parts of me. And all of us have best parts. So that's the good news. There is nobody that is in short supply of the best parts of ourselves. So it's not like we have to go and buy it. We don't have to go on Amazon and search it out. We don't have to look on somebody else's page to find out what is the better part of ourselves, because it's already in there. Remember that old commercial for, I think it was Progresso tomato sauce? It's already ready already. It's already in us. You know, but by speaking it, because we got to go back to, it has to be, it can't just be in our heads. Faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. And what's the voice that we hear the most? Our own. So that's why we have to be the one saying it. Like the little girl, I am smart, I am kind, I'm important. But I mean, we make fun of it, but that is really it at a fundamental level. So that we, in case we don't have somebody, if they didn't know to tell it to us, if they didn't know to empower us, if they didn't know, and the funny thing is that, and this just came to me, you know, we will accept the negative affirmations about ourselves. We buy those lock, stock, and barrel, right? But it's the positive ones have to be reinforced over and over again. I told you I'm in sales. And there have been studies that show that for a person to remember the attributes of a product or a service, they usually have to hear it 7 times. So think about that in respect to who we are. If I am striving to be, like, for example, one thing that I hang my hat on, I know I am an exceptional wife. If I died today, after being married to Chip for 26 years, he has been loved and wifed well. Period. Hard stop, right? Because I have told myself for years that this is what I am: a wife. I am a good wife. I am a virtuous wife. I am the heart of my husband safely is entrusted with me. But I have affirmed myself to this. Now, have I made mistakes? Yes. Do I get on his nerves? Yes. You know what I mean? But the point is that the fundamental best part of me, or better part of me, is that I am a phenomenal wife. That's it. So I keep affirming that in myself when I do things, and then those affirming words become affirming thoughts, and then those affirming thoughts become affirming behaviors. So not only am I saying that I'm a phenomenal wife, I'm exhibiting that when I interact with my husband, when I show up for him, when I am gracious and sometimes selfless in my interactions, where he not only hears it, he feels it, and he sees it, because all three of them are connected. And that's why, if we're going to get to the next level in business, in entrepreneurship, in any part of any relationship that we are fortunate to have, we have to have all three.
Listen, so much goodness here. As you were talking, I was like, okay, so if I'm going to take my life to the next level, if somebody listening going to take their life to the next level, take their relationship to the next level, what is that first? What's that next affirmation we need to have?
That's good. That's a good question. I think that the next affirmation that we need to have is that I the person needs to we all need to say, I can do it because I am it. I can
Ooh.
do it because I am it. I can be the author of a best-selling book because I am an author. I can start the business of home health care because I am a compassionate caregiver. So we need to start with that. With the begin with the end in mind. I can do it because I am it. I am it. I'm the one you've been looking for. I got the goods. I got everything that I'm supposed to have. We might not have it yet. That's not our business how we're going to get it. But we have to first affirm ourselves and believe it, because like as we just said, it starts with the words, then it becomes the thoughts, then it becomes the actions.
I'm gonna leave this out here for my future husband. If I show up and say I'm the one you've been waiting on, it's all Keisha fault.
That's right. I take it. Yes, tell him. Tell him.
I am
Listen, I'm who
it.
you've been looking for, boo. Because I can be it because I am it. What?
What? Oh my gosh. No, like I can't wait for all the things that will come from this God idea that he's given you.
Right.
Right. And the way that it's going to shake up people's lives, them personally, shake up people's relationships, shake up people's businesses. Because I guarantee you that every person who is coming under the sound of our voice has not heard about words in this way. And so, if I think like just summarizing a lot of what you said, as we think about our self awareness and getting over our past and relationships and all the things, we have to think through and be in community and spaces where we think through words we needed to hear that we didn't hear, words that we did hear that tainted us in a sense and tainted us to where we would be at a place where negativity is our friend, right? And then I wrote it down because I didn't, and words we wish we had heard.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
need, wish, and heard.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's shaping up our mind and our thoughts, which create our belief system, which creates our behaviors, right? And so if we probably did like a study and just dialed it all the way back, it'd go back to like what you have been, sanctioned to carry out for us to be awakened in this way.
Man. Yeah, I tell everybody, like you said it right. It's a God download, because I tell people I'm nowhere near this smart. It's just, God simply said that he wanted me to speak his heart to men through my voice. He said, it's basically his heart spoken through a woman, period. But it's not just for what I'm learning and what we discovered even as you were there, in to see that this is God. Everybody needs to hear God's heart, period. So, and every relationship can be impacted by it. And I'm not suggesting that people, I'm not saying that in our workplaces or in our businesses, as we are developing and becoming the best entrepreneurs that we can, that we have to be quoting book and verse of God's word. That's not what he's saying. It's about his heart for his creation, for the people that he created. He wants us to know above all else that he loves us and he approves of us and he is proud of us. And that everybody needs to hear that, so that they can continue to be self-aware, to have a positive self-perception, so that they can bring that, the better part of themselves, to every other relationship. Like, another thing that I am good at is that I am an encourager. Like I am intentional. And I don't just lob, fruity, pretty words at people. No, no, no. It's like God has given me discernment to be able to see into people, understand them, and see and help them to identify things about themselves that they may not have really recognized as a strength before. Because a lot of us do that. We just live in life be lifing, right? And so we just trying to make it. You see what I'm saying? Like, one of my best friends, she's a mother of a 13-year-old twins. And I'm like, you need the award for the best mom. And I'm not just saying that because she has twins, but I'm just her intentionality, just the way that she is raising those her kids and how she's present, but at the same time not enabling them. And I was like, you are one of the best that I know to ever do it, period. And I was so genuine and I meant that with every ounce of my being, right? And so it fulfills me to be able to look at someone and say, hey, this is who you are. You can be it because you are it, right? So this is how, like, you took your talents as an attorney. You understood that, okay, there was a void. You identified the void as well. For entrepreneurs who were not, they may have been masterfully doing and providing their goods and services to the marketplace, but there was a piece that was missing, that they were developing and launching these phenomenal businesses, right? But then something, they were forgetting to dot an I and cross a T. So
So
you stepped in and you said, there's a better way. Let me help you. Let me come alongside with you. And see, that's somebody that is a giver. That is somebody that has compassion for people, because other people, there are thousands, millions of attorneys, right? And some of them are like, if I can't bill $350 for these 15 minutes, we have nothing to talk about. But that's not what you did. There is a selfless component for what you have been given that you are willing to pour out. So you see how that somebody seeing into you and encouraging you makes you, maybe it might help you to get out of the bed in the morning tomorrow, to be like, somebody got it. Yes, this is why I do this. This is why I go through this blood, sweat, and tears when I tell my clients what to do and they don't do it, but I show up anyway. You know what I mean? And so that, it not only fulfills me, but it fulfills the hearer, right? And then now what you will do is then, because like with my friend, when I told her that, she said, well, a lot of what I learned that I learned from you. I was like, what? She was like, you were having children because I had my first child when I was 24. She had her first child when she was 30 something. She was like, so I watched you for a long time before I was a mother. You see how it was reciprocal, and it was not planned or rehearsed, but that affirmation that she gave me, because now my children are young adults. So I need all the affirmations that I can get, because some of them will make me rethink, like, did I messed up? But you see what I mean? So that is the power of affirmations that will catapult us all to our next level, and whatever that next level is. And the thing is that affirmations don't expire. There is no expiration date on an affirmation, because we keep at it until we achieve it. And then sometimes we might need to amend it, because what I had my children saying at 3 and 4, of course, is different now that they're 23 and 25. You see what I mean? But there's still no expiration date, just like there's no expiration date on our purpose. Whatever we were put here to do and to fulfill, it doesn't matter if we're 88, 28, 18, whatever it is, because there's no expiration date. And so that we have to get that same mindset about, if we're going to go to the next level, we have to recognize the power of positive affirmations, how it helps to shape us with our self-esteem, our self-awareness. It helps us with that goal attainment. So we can define, this is what good looks like. This is what I think that good would look like. And then we are the healthiest versions of ourselves, mentally, physically, and spiritually.
Y'all, I know y'all want to keep her. If you want to keep her, you got to go DM her or message her on Facebook, Instagram,
Yes.
so that then she can follow up with you on the process on how you connect and how you can get some support on really just walking all of this out. It was so good. I know you blessed these people. You blessed me. You heard her tell y'all about me. Make sure you are protecting your business. Make
Please.
sure that everything you've worked for, you don't let it slip out your hands just because you decided you wanted to save money rather than invest in your future. Because an attorney is an investment in your future, right? And so we're just excited that we had the opportunity to be here with you today and to serve you. And so you want to leave them with one last summary word before we go?
Yes. Don't be a committee of one. Like Jamila just said, don't leave your future, your success to chance. And that is often what happens when we stay in the silo of our own minds, our own best thinking. Get some help. Ask for help. Two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor. I'm not telling you what I heard. I'm telling you what I know. So that would be my encouragement for us all. Don't try to do it alone. We can go further faster if we just come alongside with others that will help us to get to where we want to be.
All right, y'all. Don't be a committee of one.
Thank you so much, Jamila. I love being here.
Love